Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 1912 Exiles podcast, the original, the best Newport County podcast made by the fans for the fans. I'm your occasional host, Jack from weareexiles.net, and this is our final summer special episode, barring any surprises, before we get the 24-25 season underway with our exclusive season preview panel discussion hopefully out in the first week of August, we're thinking. But today, though, we've got a few bits of business to attend to, something to scratch that itch for all you subscribers. First up, we've got not one but two match reports. If you thought your 1912 Exiles team couldn't be in two places, well, you were wrong. Ed has a match diary from Saturday's pre-season friendly at Barry, whilst friend of the pod Paul has delivered us a report on the development side's cup game at Llandudno. And then, in part two, we turn our attention to our team in focus for the season, Chepstow Town, as Ed sits for a cosy fireside chat with their manager Marc Ingles. But let's kick things off by hearing about that Barry Town game. A day out on the beach, in the sunshine, what could be better? Let's pitch it to you, Ed. Let's hear all about it.
Prynhawn da a groeso I Barry. Welcome to Barry. It's not the sunny summer afternoon that I'd hoped. We had a fairly wet and windy walk along Barry Beach this morning, but I've had a sausage and chips and we found our way up to the ground, and it's not a bad little ground. It's my first time here for a match anyway, and yeah, Ian will be happy. Floodlight watch, as God intended. You've got four big pylons on each corner, and yeah, two nice little stands, one either side of the pitch, and then an athletics track that puts me in mind a little bit of the old days up at Spitty Park. It is rainy. It's a little bit underwhelming for a July friendly. I think a lot of us had hoped to have shorts and suntan lotion. But other than that, it's a good turnout already. We've still got, 20 minutes till kick-off. Lots of county fans around. Good vibe around the place. Players warming up. I'm trying to put some faces to names, but I'm going to be honest, it's going to take me a good few weeks of the season to fully work out who's who. Will Evans warming up, I noticed, which is good because I don't think he featured in either of the previous friendlies. Certainly didn't feature at Undy. Haven't yet looked to see what the team lineup is, but yeah, all set to go and looking forward to this. Should be good. And sure enough, we do have the team news in now. So yes, starting off, we've got Carney in goal, so it'll be good to see how he gets on. McLaughlin and Glennon as the fullbacks. Seabury and Jameson, which I'm excited about. We'll see what they look like. Looking forward to seeing how Seabury gets on post-injury. Midfield seems to be Brennan, Antwi, Wildig, and then a forward line of Greaves, who I know Ian expects great things of. Kiban Rai, and then Trialist A. So let's see how Trialist A gets on. And just bang on cue, here comes Dave from Aratidion. Dave, you seen the lineup yet?
No.
We got a trialist starting up front, along with Kiban Rai and this lad Greaves, and Seabury in defence. So
So I'm assuming the trialist up front is this lad from QPR, is it?
Yeah, is that the big
guy,
black guy over there? Yeah, so we saw him warming up. He's very imposing. I wouldn't want to mark him, that's for sure. So let's see how he does. So there we go. There's the lineup for you. Right, we are, 9 minutes in, and we're joined by Arnie, who's going to give us an early tactics truck. So we think four at the back. What else are we thinking?
Yeah, Baker just sitting just in front of him, I reckon, when we've got the ball. So 4-1, 3-2 or something like that. We're definitely trying to keep a bit of width. Kiban Rai staying wide out, but very early days at the moment. Nice couple of touches in places. We'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm liking the look of the lad Glennon. He's done a few nice little twists and turns and long passes. There's been some nice bits of control from sweeping balls across. But you said, Dave, after about 5 minutes, the ball's not left the ground yet.
Yeah, and then the first time it did, we actually created a chance. So that's quite interesting. I think you've said before, you can't just play on the floor for the entire 90 minutes. So it's interesting to see how they play out.
Best chance has probably fallen to Barry. There was a bit of a mix-up in defence. Seabury missed the ball, came through to his man who had all the time in the world and stuck it wide. But yeah, other than that, 0-0, early days. And there we go, 1-0, Aaron Wildig. Really nice bit of interplay. Kiban Rai did well, played a good through ball. None of the players have got numbers on, so I'm not entirely sure who's who, but I think it was Glennon who then crossed it in, missed it, went right across the box, and Wildig stuck it into the top corner. Really well worked goal, and yeah, probably deserved on the balance of play. One bit of business to pick up, Arnie misspoke earlier, it's Morris rather than Bennett who's sitting in front of the back four and sweeping up the problems. Looks very, very comfortable there. I think that role is going to be so important for us this season. If we go to four at the back, who's going to be the holding midfielder who sits there, does some of the dirty work and then sprays the passes? And yeah, it's been Morris today, looking very, very comfortable. So yeah, 1-0 after, what are we, 18 minutes. We're going to have a third go at it. So Morris isn't even in the squad. Baker's on the bench. So we think the man sitting in front of the back four is Brennan. We're going Brennan. Yeah, we clearly haven't done our pre-season warm-ups either as a podcast, but we will get there. In fairness, none of the players have got numbers on. A lot of them are new faces. We're doing our best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof, 1-1. Carl McLagan for Barry. Very nice turn and finish. So they won a free kick just outside the penalty area, just to the side. Whipped in low, fell to McLagan, turned, shot into the top corner. Little bit against the run of play, to be honest, but we haven't looked settled at the back, I think. Bit of miscommunication going on. We've been fine going forward, but defensively we haven't looked comfortable yet. Right then, half time. Let's have a few more voices. 1-1. I'm really, really encouraged by what I've seen so far, because we haven't done the Simpsons meme thing of goalkeeper to centre-back to full-back, holds it. It's been proper possession with a purpose, lots of intent, hasn't always come off, and one or two players I think are quite interesting for what they've been trying to do, but I'll talk about them in a minute. But the application's been there, we tried to get it forward quickly, we tried to create, and it's been easy on the eye. So I quite like that. Simon, I'll come to you first. Who's stood out for you and what have been your thoughts?
Well, we were saying the left back looks good. Sorry, I don't know names. Glennon. He's certainly getting forward well, and some good creativity in midfielders. I think you were just saying some interesting play. Less solid at the back, so it's been reasonably entertaining. We'll see what happens in the second half, I guess.
Yeah, I think the consensus is that Glennon really does look like the pick of the new players for me. He's been kind of at the heart of everything we've done, sprayed some good passes around. The other one I've watched with loads of interest has been Cameron Antwi, who he does the thing I really like in a midfielder of he's always trying to make things happen. He's never playing the obvious pass. He's trying things, and sometimes it works and it looks great, and a few times it hasn't worked and he's given the ball away a little bit cheaply. But I like the fact that he's trying to take them by surprise. Now, whether that works against a higher level of opponent, we shall wait and see, but he's another one I'm going to be watching closely. So Rob, your first time watching County, is that right? You're normally a Worcester City fan.
That's true, very true.
What have you made of this? Who stood out for you?
Well, I think the left back's already been mentioned.
Yeah.
Some, positive play. Quite like the centre forward, who I believe is on trial.
Yeah, trialist A.
Trialist A.
His brother, trialist B, is on the bench.
Excellent. Mr. Sitter.
Yes, he did.
On
Yeah.
the back post. But we'll forgive him for that, and I think his hold-up play's been excellent. So
yeah,
really enjoyed watching that.
Arnie made the point. It's not the sort of goal you want to miss from 2 yards out if you're playing for a contract. The players have stayed out on the pitch and are doing more drills. So yeah, we will see who's still there in 5 minutes' time when they kick off the second half. Right, teams are out for the second half. The kids have all just come back having been given fist bumps by David Pipe, so they're happy. Second half team, so we kept Carney in goal, and then we've got 3 members of the trialist family in now. Trialist, Clark, Baker, trialist, so I'm guessing that's 2 fullbacks who are trialists. Brennan still in midfield along now with Whitmore and Wood, so lots of creativity there. And then Jeffcott and Spellman up front with another trialist. So yeah, I've already given up any pretense of trying to work out what's going on, but looking forward to seeing how Wood and Whitmore get on. That's a lot of creativity in the middle. Dave, any expectations out of that list of names?
I honestly have not got a clue what's going to happen. Hopefully just continue to see people being comfortable in possession of the ball and looking like we're actually trying to do things with the ball rather than just pass it around for the sake of passing it.
Yep, absolutely. And I know it's like 3rd pre-season game now, but I like the fact that we're still ringing the changes and giving everyone a chance. I feel like that's what Jardin should be doing at this point, is giving all of the players a fair crack of the whip. We're probably a little bit off the point where we start getting a bit firmer with the selections. So, we've got a rarity here. We've got a contested drop ball. Oh, no, we haven't. Oh, no. For a second, I got all excited. I love a contested drop ball. So, yeah, we'll see how we get on as the half progresses. Wow, 5 minutes into the second half, 2-1 to Barry. Again, it's a set piece that has proved our undoing, and a very well struck free kick round the wall, beat the keeper. We were saying keeper, he looks just like Carney, like an inexperienced keeper. He's pulled off a few smart saves, but hasn't dominated his box, hasn't communicated brilliantly. Distribution's been a bit shaky at times. It's probably experience rather than quality, but I'm not sure he could have done much with the free kick though. Other than that, keeping a close eye on Whitmore in central midfield, who's a player I'm expecting a lot from, but he's had a few little touches but not done anything huge yet. So 2-1. Finished 2-1. Barry fans seem very happy. Celebrate. I guess they've won their cup final, really, haven't they? A bit underwhelming that second half. The movement, the crispness of the passing wasn't quite as good as it was in the first half. I mean, let's not get too down about it and read too much into it. Nelson Jardim is out on the centre circle talking to his players. He wasn't a shouty manager, but had a few things to say and is out there giving them a debrief now. A lot more to enthuse about from the first half than the second. Views seem to differ about Luke Jeffcott. I quite liked his industry during that, but he is naturally quite a languid looking player, and I think some people felt frustrated there wasn't a bit more application from him. But there we are, 2-1. But I liked the way we set up and played in the first half, and a couple of standouts for me. I thought Glennon first half, Antwi more so in the first half than the second half when he came back on. I was intrigued by trialist A up front in the first half. Whether he'll get a contract, this lad from QPR, I don't know, but seemed to offer something, so we shall see. So there we go. Look after yourselves, catch up soon.
So largely a disappointing day out then for our intrepid reporter there, but the game at Barry wasn't the only one involving Newport County this weekend. The club allowed its development side to compete in this year's MG Cup, where, for reasons we just can't quite fathom, County were allocated into the northern section of the first half draw. Like for the seniors, they got a day out at the seaside with a game at Llandudno, and fair play to any County fan who made the long trip up for that one. And we were very pleased to have a willing volunteer amongst them. Listener Paul, who tweets as Bushtal Yesin and is a contributor to the Coleman Has a Dream podcast, amongst others, is based up that way and offered to send us very kindly his insights. So let's hear from him.
Croeso from Gogledd Cymru. I went to watch the Newport County development side play Llandudno this Saturday. Llandudno won 3-0. It was a good, hard pressing Llandudno side, and the weather was atrocious, and my notes have just dried out. So the lads at the Exiles have asked me to look up for a few players and give my opinion. Sanka at the back, solid performance, a good defender. The first half, he's did really well. He looked for to put good balls through. Young lad called Moses Alexander Walker on the wing, played some great passes through to him. Unfortunately, second half, a ball in from Dan Jones, ex-Wrexham, now at Llandudno, caught Sanka and unluckily went in the back of the net. Harrison Pugh, good lad in midfield, only for a 16-year-old. He gives and goes well. He looks for space. He's not scared to take on players. Jack Norris, again, only 17. He had a good, calm performance. The first half, the development side were very good. Second half, I think they fell apart a bit. They stopped talking to each other, which was a shame. But he laid on some good passes again for Moses Alexander Walker, who absolutely bombed down the right wing. He is one to watch. Pacey, he's not scared of taking players on. Put some great balls through in the first half. Substituted early on in the second half. Fortunately, didn't see much from Bonnie up front. They tend to mark him out of the game. As I said, Llandudno are a really hard pressing team. They knew he was one to watch. Apart from that, there is some good things there. I think they took on a good side on a good day, and Llandudno, the young manager there, built this side well. But it was encouraging. And there were some county fans there, so I went and sat with them too. Anyway, diolch fawr iawn. I hope this gets to you, and keep it county.
Lovely, Paul. Really appreciated that. Come on back anytime with more Northern reports. Maybe meet up with Ian, perhaps, for a pie under a floodlight somewhere. Okay, so 2 county defeats in one day. That's got to be a new low. Maybe a new record, but let's not get too downhearted. Plenty of football still to be played, even before the proper league season begins. Right, time for an ad break, I think. When we come back, we'll check in with our club in focus. But first, here are some messages from our sponsors. Okay, 1912 Exiles, welcome back. After those messages, it's the final section of the pod. When we did our listener survey a few months back, people said they enjoyed hearing our look at football in Gwent beyond Newport County, and that you wanted us to spread the love a bit. So, having secured Newport City men a promotion last year when we adopted them as our team in focus, we'll try and do the same, shall we? We'll do it for Chepstow Town. A suggestion made by none other than our very own award-winning journalist and pod regular, Jamie Harris, a proud Chepstonian himself. So Ed sat down the other week with their manager, Marc Ingles, who's previously coached at Newport County, to learn all about them. Let's pitch it to the clip.
So, Mark, welcome to the 1912 Exiles podcast.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Chepstow Town. How long have you been there as manager, and what are the things that all 1912 Exiles listeners should know?
So, I'm actually from Newport. I coached for Newport County for 5.5 years in the development stage. This is my 3rd season at Chepstow as a first team manager. The only real history I know about Chepstow is I'm pretty sure they're one of the oldest, if not the oldest, club in the Welsh League. I think they were founded in 1878. That's probably the biggest bit of knowledge I can give you on Chepstow. Since they amalgamated the leagues, I think 4 or 5 years ago, there used to be a first division, a second division, a third division. Now there's Cymru South, Cymru North, and then the Ardal South, which we're in. So it's that's really the top and bottom of my knowledge of Chepstow, really.
Yeah, and so like you say, Ardal South East. Last season you finished 5th in the league, is that right? And out of the 16. And how was that campaign?
It's a strange one, really, because we invested quite heavily in youths. So we were quite lucky through obviously myself when I was working in Newport, I want to say Steel, a few of the youngsters, so people like Sonny Lewis.
Yeah.
Probably, I'm going to say 5-6 first team games when Michael Flynn was there. Then we had a few other releasees, which was like Mal Graham, which is a fullback. And then we just probably built like that. We thought we can get a bit of youths and try and keep them and try and make them into better football players, because I didn't want these young players to go into clubs where they're not going to play. It's probably the best description. To be fair, we started off really well, first few games, and we won. And then we hit a bit of a lull, which sides do, where we couldn't buy a win. We kept drawing or losing last minute. played a lot of cup games. That's the problem with the Welsh Pyramid is you have cup game after cup game after cup game, and then if it's cancelled, you've got to play the cup game the following week. And so we went on a bit of a decent cup run in the Welsh Cup, and then we just had an unbelievable finish where I think we, in the last 14 games, we won 12, drew 1, and then lost the very last one. So I think we won we won team of the month for April. I think we're the only side ever to win 7 games in a month. That's not because I just don't think anyone else have played 7 in a month. So that's a really good achievement for us and something we're quite proud of, really.
Yeah, it was a funny old league as well last season because True Thomas Bluebirds kind of ran away with the title. Newport City, who we followed as last season's team in focus, were a very, very strong challenger behind them. And so it was, kind of hard, I think, for a lot of the other teams behind them to kind of build up any consistency just because you had those two kind of steamrolling over everyone else.
True Thomas did. They were a very good team last year, I got to be fair. And they play on the 3G, which makes a difference when you play on grass every week. But City was a strange one, really. We played them 3 times, realistically. We played them when the floodlights blew up at Spitty.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But we were 1-1. We were actually quite dominant in that game. And then they played us in our place. And it was pitch wasn't very great. It was a bit of a nasty game. And then we played them at home, and it was another one where we were 1-0 up for a long, long period of time. But then they beat us again. So, and to be fair, deservedly, they probably deserve to come up second and go up, to be fair to Newport.
So what's the ambition for next season then? Fifth last season, where do you think you're going to be able to finish this year?
Well, I think on our run, we've made some great signings this year, some really strong signings, which I think we're losing Tree Thomas and Newport City. Risker's going to a bit of a turmoil behind the scenes. Our ambition is to finish in the top 2. We've built a squad, we've actually strengthened the squad quite significantly, which we're really happy with. We've just put 3 great signings over the line. And our ambition is to finish in the top 2. 1 would be great. I'd love to sit here and say we want to win it. But the ambition, we believe we can finish in the top 2 this year. We've improved every year, and we're stronger now than we were last year and the year before. So the kick on, hopefully, will be that.
Well, tell us about the squad then. Tell us about the signings. Tell us who are the players we should be looking out for.
So, obviously, I mentioned a couple of them. Obviously, the youngsters, which was Sonny Lewis, who had a good end of the season last year. We've just signed a lad called Ryan Wheeler from Risker. I was a coach at Risker before I was at Chepstow in the first team. He was by far ahead and Joe was the best player there. Been after him for 2 years. And he's agreed to come this year, so I'm really, really happy with that. We signed a lad called Jack Pearson-Brown. He used to play for Chippenham. He's moved work. He's come from Bath, and now he's moved to Cardiff. Luckily, he knows our goalkeeper, and he went over us. And he's a bit of a diamond we found in the rough. And then we've just found a lad called Adam Wakely from Westfield, which is the Atlantic League, which is in the English Pyramid. Ex-Chepstow boy. He's gone and done some really, really good player, really good stuff. He's in the army, and he's just agreed to sign for us as well. So we just got him over the line. So there's 3 huge signings for us, which make us much stronger than we were last year, really.
And we were wondering about that kind of recruitment challenge, because obviously not only have you got all the clubs in the Welsh Pyramid this side of the border, but then on the other side of the border you've got the Gloucestershire League, Hellenic League, teams around Bristol. Does that make it hard to recruit players in?
So our pre-season really based around playing the English Pyramid teams. To be honest, like we do have a lot of interest from players over towards like Litany Way, and because kind of our players play there and they used to play for them. And then you get sort of Lord Cinderfoot sort of thing, and I'm quite friendly with most of the managers, and it's sort of, if they're not going to get in or they fill that position, we sort of like talk about it, and maybe, like I said, if I'm after a centre half and they've got 3 and they want to play, it's good to have that communication, really. So it is tough because Chepstow, unfortunately, is on the border, and a lot of the lads I brought in, a lot of them are from Newport, because that's who I know and when I've gone up. And we have got still a few homegrown Chepstow lads, and there's a couple of Chepstow lads who obviously play for Gloucester City and Merthyr. But yeah, so that's that. It is different to recruit. I think we try to do things the right way. Probably got the best club base I would say I've ever seen for a football ground. We've invested in the change rooms. They're quite professional, as we try to do with booths and things, which have been by the social media. So we want to try and make it as professional as we can for the players, so to attract players that want to come also.
Yeah, and what about the kind of local rivalries? Who are the kind of big rivalries for you within that league and within the area then?
So the biggest one's Caldicot, and we obviously got Indy as well, but Caldicot's the one. I think we got them our first home league game.
I was going to say, I circled that one when I was looking through the fixtures and thinking, right, which of the games we want to go to, and you've got that on the 30th.
That's always a really good game, to be honest, because a derby's a derby, whether we're the better side, they're the better side. I think form goes out the window. We were quite lucky to get a good result. Well, not lucky, we were good. We beat them once last year, drew once. We were probably a better team than last year, if I'll be truthfully honest. I'm hoping we're a better team than this year. It's always quite a big crowd, because to be fair, a lot of people from Caldicot come over to watch, and they got quite a good following. So, it's always quite a feisty game. It can be and it can't be. But yeah, that's probably a big one to watch if you're going to be a Chepstow Caldicot sort of fan thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I say, that's going to be my debut. I think certainly Jamie and I think probably Reece and Jack from the pod have all been to Larkfield Park before, but I've not. So I've put that in my diary for the 30th of July to make that first trip there, first game of the season, and big local derby. What are the other games that you're looking forward to? You know, if we could rustle a few extra supporters along, which are the ones that you'd like? Some extra crowd members.
To be honest, we got Indy away for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Always nice to play Indy, as obviously Newport Mods.
We know, yeah.
We don't best pitches in one of the Warshley Pyramids. Gutra is always a big game, especially for me, because my best friend, the best man at my wedding, is assistant manager there, so it's always a bit of a nice to play against them. They've always been a really strong 8-fit Gutra. Don't know how strong they're going to be this year, because I know they've lost a lot of players, but it's always what I want to win. It's probably the one to say that on a personal note. They're probably the big ones. I know a few have come down. Abergavenny have come down.
Yeah,
Abertillery, which when they went up, they were bad. So it's a weird league, because you got some sides which are not very nice to go away. You got Brecon Corries, which is a horrible place to go.
Yeah,
they're a big side, and they don't travel well. Probably is the only way to describe it, but they're very good. And then you got obviously your Trio Inns, which is you got to walk up the stairs. It's like the whole of China. It's a bit of a strange league, and it's a lot of derbies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the great thing about that league is, there's so many good local matches. And Goitra, funnily enough, you mentioned that. So this year they've got a women's team for the first time, and I think a lot of the women who played for Newport City last season, including some of the ones we spoke to on the pod, have all kind of moved en masse to there. So we may check in with them at some point this season. Chepstow, you haven't got a women's team, but you've got a full youth setup and everything else. So I don't know whether you want to say anything about the kind of community and youth side of the club.
Yeah, so they got a full youth setup they have got a young girls team for the youth setup. I think they're under 8s and under 9s, and they've got it all the way up to an under 18s and then a development under 19 side. It's run really well. It's run by a separate committee. They train at the ground because we have a bottom pitch where the kids train and play all their games. So they've got a home base. So I said foundation-wise, they'll have a big festival this weekend. And they raise money for the youth development. The youth do really well when it comes to that. And that's always because they've got a lot of helpers and a lot of parents who are willing to put their time and effort in, really.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Mark, thank you for your time. We will look forward to checking in a little bit through the course of the season. I'm looking forward to getting up there in a few weeks' time and seeing that first match. And good luck for the season. We'll be watching closely.
Thank you very much.
Lovely stuff. And if you can get down to Larkfield Park on Tuesday 30th to support them in that big derby against Caldicot, then please do so. Show up, show some support for the officially, are we going to say adopted club of the 1912 Exiles podcast. I'd also reiterate that if there's any local women's teams who want to be our women's club in focus next season, then we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line on the socials and we'll see what we can do. And that pretty much wraps things up for us. We'll be back soon with our big season preview episode with contributions from all the panels, so keep yourself subscribed for that one. But in the meantime, there is only one thing left to say. Look after each other, and above all, as always, keep it county.